guys. Welcome back to a second episode of Behind the Paw. I'm Danielle Davis.
I'm Keith Adams.
And I'm Jay Dillard.
So today we're going to be talking about how social media sport is different than sports media. And the big thing to focus on is social media sport basically creates hype. So an example would be influencer boxing, which we've seen a lot of nowadays, and how that's taken a different turn on how people view events. And social media sport really highlights bigger organizations and athletes being able to represent and share with fans what they want to. Nowadays, you can watch an event. And you think you just be getting sports, but you could be getting politics, current events, anything of that sort coming from that event that could influence you as a viewer. So, open up the floor to you guys. Can you think of an example or a certain instance where you were exposed to this?
Yeah. Me watching a lot of sports and following a lot of athletes on social media. A lot of athletes can use their platform to expose their audience to different things. And one thing that I take in a lot in media with like athletes that I watch is like LeBron James and maybe um, Peyton Manning and his brother Eli Manning. They have a lot of uh, different ways to show their influence. A lot of things that attract me to them is uh, the way that they I don't know, promote things in a comedic way. Because I like watching funny things. So like Peyton Manning or Eli Manning might make a funny commercial or a funny ad on social media, and I feel like that gains a lot of engagement for their audience. So that's one thing for me.
Yeah, just like Keith said, for me, I feel like players like Austin Riley and Trevor Story, I kind of follow them on social media just because I feel like they live the same lifestyle that I do with baseball and then outside of baseball. And just like Trevor Story and his YouTube channel, and then Austin Riley and his YouTube channel. I feel like that's kind of, I dive into a lot of the stuff that they say and they talk about, especially with sport, and then just them kind of meshing in their out of sport lifestyle into um, just their daily, routine and schedule of sports.
Yeah, I would say for me, I less follow like specific athletes, but I think nowadays when I turn on a broadcast event or a sporting event, I definitely sometimes am listening to what the announcers are saying, and I'm like, what does this have to do with the game I'm watching at all? And I think it's really taking like a different turn of you could have one person announcing a game and you'll get a completely different opinion and outlook versus someone else coming on maybe an episode after an event after. And I think this is a big part of what we talked about in class of framing with social media and how people can take certain ideas or topics and make it look a certain way to kind of reach an audience that they want to reach. Um, I don't know if this, I feel like this can have a positive and negative effect, but I feel like if some people aren't educated, that they could fall into maybe like a biased opinion. So I don't know if you guys have seen this in sports and how it's taken a turn over the last couple of years.
Yeah, for sure. Dr. Hakeem's gonna hate me for this one, but I'd say Josh Allen had an instance where he was being framed for a comment that he made. I believe he was in high school and people brought it back. Uh, it just shows that people are watching, especially people with a big name like that. Um, it doesn't mean that he's a bad person. It just probably just means that, he was just a little immature back in his past. But that's one instance that I got from framing. And another one which he just seems not to care is Antonio Brown. Um, Everybody probably knows who Antonio Brown is. He just kind of says anything, and people, when he first started doing it, people would start to, blame maybe his CTE or, you know, just personal problems. He just got to fix himself, but it doesn't seem like he's going to stop anytime soon. So people have just kind of embraced that, I guess, and just understood that that's the kind of person that he is at this point in his life because he wasn't like that when he was at his prime in the league, and then later in his career he just started lashing out, and teams try to give him opportunities, but he just seems to have his own voice and wants to voice his opinion. And he's very controversial, but a lot of people enjoy his content now. So, yeah.
Yeah, when I think about framing, especially from like announcers in game, specifically, I like to think back to last year's MLB season. A kid named Jackson Holiday, who was 20 years old at the time, and his dad was a former big leaguer. He got called up. He was the first pick in the draft a year before that and made his debut, um, which obviously a lot of added pressure just for a 20-year-old kid to be playing at the highest level you could possibly play at. But he struggled for, I want to say, like 30 at bats. And I think the announcers did a good job because I mean, I would watch and listen whenever he was playing because I got to play against him, and they did a good job of just framing it as like, you know, the kids living through the most amount of pressure you could live at. Like like no one's playing through that kind of pressure. Dad's a former big leaguer, first round pick, 20 years old, framed it as like pressure, pressure, pressure. Whereas like instead of just like jumping all over him for the struggles that he went through.
Yeah, he's like popped up on my TikTok a couple times, like just his career and stuff. And like I don't really watch MLB baseball, but I just have seen like 1 second it's like he's the best player, and the next second the comments are actually insane. And I'm like, this poor kid's like making more money than all of us, and he's getting
Yeah,
hated on all the time. So I really do think like I don't know, like I wonder if he even looks at that stuff or if he's like past that point. But I really think like thinking about it from an athlete's perspective, like I don't know about you guys, but like I'll never go back and listen to an announcer like after a game I just played because it's like they could say something that is going to end up sticking with you for the next week and stuff, and that's just how they want to frame it, you know, because at the end of the day they want people to listen and they want an audience. So I don't know your guys' take on listening to announcers after a big game, or even if you play well. I feel like either way it's just not worth the energy.
For sure.
yeah, I don't think it's worth the energy just because at the end of the day, like whether you do something good or bad, like you're the only one that knows like why that went well or like why that went bad. Like the announcers are just watching it and saying whatever comes to mind. Like you can hear it all the time just watching sports. Like sometimes they'll have the craziest takes on why someone like failed. It's like that's not right at all.
Agreed.
2 days later.
We have joining us today Sydney Minarik, former teammate, captain, good friend of mine. has a lot of experience with podcasts, social media, creating content, working a job right now and taking classes. So she's taken on everything. But Sid just came out with a really exciting new platform. So I kind of want to start with that, Sid. Can you tell us about it, how that idea came to be?
Yeah, so I just started a Substack recently, and for those of you who don't know what it is, it's like a blog online, but it's already an app that's made for you, so you don't have to make like your own website or anything. Substack has already created an app, and then you can kind of just write content in like a blog format, and then it sends it out to whoever's in your email list, and you can make like shareable links to share those stories on other social media platforms too, like Instagram or TikTok or something like that. But I was really just looking for somewhere that I could write something. And I love email for some reason. A lot of people still don't like email, but I think it's old fashioned and fun, and I like that Substack had that feature to send it out to people's emails.
How did you like, has this been an idea like for a long time? Because I remember you mentioning to me like you were coming up with a couple things. So has this been on your mind for a while, or did it kind of just speak to you one day and you were like, I'm gonna do it?
Yeah. I feel like I've always wanted like a way to use social media for some sort of influence. Not necessarily with sports. Like I think what my Substack is, it's called Make Your Impact. It's basically just whatever I'm thinking about, motivation, perspective, things that I've gone through in my athletic career, my professional career. Professional is in like business, not professional athletics yet. Um, but I've had this idea for a while and I just wanted a place to share it. And then now that I'm not playing soccer at Clemson anymore, I kind of have a bit more free time. I was like, I need to just stop having it sit on a sticky note in my desk and just be like, just go for it. If it doesn't go anywhere, I know my parents get the emails and I know they appreciate it. So just kind of start small and do something. But it really just hit me recently that I was like, I can't just talk about doing something. I actually have to do it when I have the opportunity to.
So, Sydney, what exact audience are you trying to connect with or attract towards? Is it more of like a younger audience or what is it?
Yeah, I would say it's definitely more of a younger audience, kind of just using it as a time to take advantage of where you are, maximize your day, maximize your potential, how you're about to influence the people around you. My actual audience is probably a good mix of adults and young adults, just because I put it on my Instagram and like my friends and some other random people have subscribed, but a lot of it's also my parents and their friends too. But I think the messages that I'm trying to share could be used for every audience, but for the most part, it's definitely targeted at like people that have the opportunity and the resources and the blessing of time right now.
Yeah, I
Okay.
was kind of gonna ask about like just you talked about starting small and like at least like your parents they were getting it. But you kind of just mentioned friends, former teammates, and whatnot on the app. I was just curious like how do you like is the number of people did the number of people on the app kind of affect like how much time and effort you put into it, or is it kind of like a, hey, this is like a long term thing and something I enjoy doing and see it through?
Yeah, this is definitely just something that I enjoy doing and that I think I have enough content to come up with for long term. And it didn't really matter how many people signed up. I really just wanted to have a place to share my story and things that I think I've learned and could be impactful for anyone. But I know that because Substack is already established, it definitely was more appealing for me to go on there to be like, I do have my friends. I know the people that have already signed up, but there's also a chance to reach a greater audience because the app had more people. So I guess I don't know. I need to just keep coming out with more content to see if people end up liking it. But if literally just a couple people see it, I think it'll still be pretty fulfilling for me and impactful.
Yeah, for sure. The way that that app works, is it like other people that are on the app, but like do they like subscribe to you? Is that how that works?
Yeah, so I guess like it's I created my profile and then I can share my profile with like people that I already know through text or by putting it on my social medias. So I guess my friends, that's how they ended up subscribing. But there's also like an explore feed on Substack, kind of like it would be on a TikTok. So if someone is just scrolling through and sees my post and is like, oh, I kind of like what she just said in that. And then at the bottom it says kind of like my why for starting my Substack, and it has a place to subscribe there. So that would be for any random person if they saw that just going through their For You page.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Can you collaborate with other people on the app? Like if you see someone with similar ideas and goals, can you like reach out to them and try and produce something together, or is it not like that?
Not really producing together, but there's like a feature called Restack, which I guess is like a retweet or whatever. So I can share what they said and then my comments about it. And then my followers also can see that on the app. It's a pretty cool platform.
Do you think, because I know the plans to go over to Europe soon, do you think that the content's going to be a little bit different, or it's going to be more about like your experience and stuff? Because I feel like just it's just a different life over there in general, and you're going to be experiencing like so many new things. So, do you think you'll shift it more back to soccer, or you're going to keep it life oriented?
Yeah, I think the fun thing right now is I've kind of just been like, I come out with one every Thursday. So I've just been seeing what speaks to me that week. And for now, it's been more life oriented. There's definitely going to be some other soccer ones because I have like a bit of content that I've just kind of planned out. Like, here are some ideas, and then whatever speaks to me that week of my ideas, I kind of run with. Because I'll just have like what title I want to call it. And then I'll be like, oh, I want to speak more about that this week. So I'm sure that when I'm in Europe trying to play, I'll probably get a bit more inspiration for more athletics related content. But right now, the plan is to be more like 1 week is like a lifestyle, 1 week athletics, 1 week leadership, hobbies, stuff like that, kind of just to rotate the content, which has definitely been a bit interesting because I'm not trying to like make a niche of something that I'm specifically good at. This is more just like I feel like I do a lot at Clemson, and I don't know if I have a direct pathway of what is my one passion. It's just like a lot of things together and kind of my entire experience as a whole, not just like straight athletics or straight life, you know. It's everything.
Okay. I like that. I like that. With your like platform and everything that you have, like, do you think that there's a strategy to it, like an algorithm maybe, uh, to like the platform with your like content and everything?
Yeah, I feel like the strategy that I've seen other people use is just consistent content. Like that's where it is on pretty much all platforms. Like the more that you post, the more people are going to be engaged with the content, and also the more chance they have to see it. So I know that if I were to post more often, there would probably be a chance that I could get more subscribers or whatever. But I think having a consistent, at least like knowing that I'm going to be posting every Thursday for the foreseeable future, at least gives people some sort of inclination about what I'm doing. And I think once a week for now is enough because it does take a good bit of time to like write what I'm writing and then edit it to make sure I'm getting the right message out. But in terms of like strategy on how to get quote unquote viral or famous, I have no idea yet. I'm still
Hmm.
trying to figure it out. I definitely think it would help to link other platforms that I'm already on. Like I've been posting whatever I write about on Instagram, and then people like click that link to go to Substack. So it kind of
Hmm.
like links my Instagram brand with what I'm trying to say on my pod on like the Substack itself. So there's like a little bit of social media linking there, which is kind of a strategy.
Hmm.
But I'm still trying to figure everything out. It's just been fun to write and do something new for sure.
That's pretty cool. And also, like, I know that, like, I feel like you have to have some kind of like inspiration. Is there anybody that you kind of like look up to or kind of try to um, imitate? I guess not imitate, but like kind of get ideas from.
Yeah. Oh, I was talking to my parents. It was like I was trying to be a combination of, with the content itself, a combination of Mel Robbins, John Gordon, and David Goggins. Like I feel like they just have such
Mm,
three different things that I want to be like the combination of everything because John Gordon's very leadership oriented. David Goggins is like put your head down and work, kind of more athleticism. And then Mel Robbins is like lifestyle, how to get your life together, make the most of your day, make an impact on other people. So I guess those are the three I look up to. And then like I'll do research on things that they talk about too and how that would apply to my own life too.
fire. I like that.
Yeah. Um, each post, like every Thursday, like how long is a post on this app?
On a Google Doc before I put it into the app, it's like 2.5 pages, 2.5 to 3 pages. And then Substack actually has a feature that tells you the estimated time of how long the read is going to be. So that if you're like on your For You page and you see, oh, this is only a 3 minute read, that might be more enticing than if it says a 10 minute read, and mine seemed to be around 3 to 4 minutes. So nothing too crazy, just a little bit of whatever I'm feeling that week.
Yeah, I got you.
Have you, because we're talking about in class, like framing and how social media has kind of shifted over to it's not only just sports now. Like when you're watching an event, you're getting politics, you're getting opinions, you're getting different ideas from different people. Have you because you're very authentic, like all of your platforms. I know I have more of a personal relationship with you, but I feel like whatever I look at, I'm like, that's who Sid is, and like she lives by that. Have you been in an instance where you've been exposed to something and you've found it hard to stay true to those like values of yours based on the information of what other people may be telling you or what you're seeing on social media?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think it's really easy on social media just to say a bunch of words or post something just to post it to get a certain reaction from people. And I find that anytime that I run into that, it makes me just like feel super icky. I don't know, like you feel that like dissonance between what you know your values are versus what you're portraying to a large group of people. And it doesn't seem like that at first because you're behind a screen. But I've always kind of felt that conscience of like, oh shoot, if I'm putting something out there, it's a way to hold myself accountable at the same time. Like I remember when I was first on the Beyond the Paw podcast with Allie and Megs, who are Danny and I's old teammates, and we were talking about like being a good teammate and how your ego kind of has to go aside if you're someone that's not playing as much. And for a second, I was like, of course I'm saying that and I genuinely believe it, but do I always live by that? And so I think putting that out there made me live by it more because it was a way to hold myself accountable, being like, I know that someone could listen to this and kind of call me on my BS if I'm not being a good teammate because I said once to a large audience that I would be one. So I think it definitely goes both ways. For me, I try to be authentic in what I'm posting because I know that it's a brand. Like I'm making myself a brand through social media. And then I also try to be cognizant of that if other people may not think that same way as me and be like, this is just an opportunity to me to get clout or become viral by saying certain things. Um, so it's definitely tough, but I try to stay authentic as much as I can and not feel that dissonance between my values as much.
Yeah,
I
I feel
really
like
like
you
that.
definitely do
Yeah, go
that.
ahead.
No, you go. I was just saying, like, I feel like you definitely live by that. Like all the conversations I have with you, I've never been like her actions are one thing and her words are another. So
I appreciate that.
And I can relate to that a lot because like I try to, make sure like what I portray to other people is a genuine feeling of like the kind of person that I actually am and not trying to show, uh, one side of me on social media and then one side of me on like, like in person because like I feel like if I'm showing my true authentic self, like, I'm not gonna lie, like I'm just a goofy person and that's kind of how I portray myself online sometimes. And I love that when I get feedback from people, like they can tell like it's authentic, and they tell me like, hey, that like I love how you're just being yourself anywhere you go. Like you never let anybody change you. And so like the next question I was gonna ask you was like, what do you think like is your end goal for all of this? Like, what is your like, I guess like mission statement for your platform?
Yeah. I guess the mission statement for the platform itself, it make your impact. Like I just want people to view the space and the content that I'm creating as just a way for them to become more excited to live their own life. Because I went through like some struggles of just going through the monotony and finding my identity in sports and school and all the above. And I'm finally figuring things out and I've learned a bunch of things along the way. So I wanted to find a platform and a space to share that so that if someone hears something or a different perspective that I can give them, then maybe they're going to be like, oh, I now have an opportunity to change my outlook on something or involve myself in something that I wouldn't necessarily have done if I didn't hear it. So I guess the end goal of the platform itself is definitely to just have people take what they want from it, but a little bit of a break from the dryness of social media of just sharing things just to share and this time trying to make an influence, make an impact. But the end goal altogether is I'm hoping that I find maybe something that I'm passionate about to be able to do long term because I'm very lucky and grateful right now to be in Clemson where I have a lot of resources and I'm not going to be in this place after May. So maybe using this as a space to kind of explore something that I'm going to be interested in long term, whether that could be motivational speaking, writing a book, something like that. And this is kind of just building my brand for that so that I can use that to figure out where I'm going next, you know? And this is just more like a while I have the resources at Clemson and the friends and the time, like time is definitely a big thing. How can I
Mhm.
use that to kind of set myself up for success going forward so that I do something I actually enjoy? Because my fear is that I'm going to end up at a desk, and I really don't want to end up at a desk.
I get that. I get that. This is definitely a good start for that. So just keep going. You're gonna get there.
Thanks. I really
Yeah,
appreciate that.
I was about to say I don't have a question, but just from listening and like listening to you talk about kind of how passionate you are about it, like I swear I feel like people like you like are the ones that blow up on TikTok. Like short minute like short clips just like of you talking or something. Like I feel like there's no way someone like you wouldn't just blow up in that platform. Couldn't like I feel like it'd just get bigger, but just kind of like a side note.
Thanks.
Sid, amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you
Thank
so
so
you.
much.
much.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. Let me know if you guys need anything else, but that was fun.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you guys for everybody tuning in to be Behind the Paw. Um, until next time, we'll see you in episode 3. Take care.